Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is where you're listening at.
This is
Maren
Costa of
Costa of Unapologetically Maren, the Cornbread Chronicles.
We have a special guest with us today. Her name is Christi Wedell.
She is an
amazing
woman
that I met off the
that I met
TikTok
off the
world.
TikTok world.
She is the author of Shattered to Serenity.
She also ran a
podcast with the same name,
and we are so excited to have her here today.
Christi, how are you doing?
Oh my goodness, well, thank you for that warm welcome, Maren, and I am certainly honored to be here with you and your group today. I think we met on TikTok, which is a wild little space to meet in, but I have really enjoyed watching your work, and a good friend of mine has been on your podcast, and you are doing amazing things, wonderful things, and I'm so honored to be here today.
Thank you so much.
And you are as well. We're going to tackle this little world of mental health awareness together.
That's right. That is the goal, for sure.
Yes, ma'am.
So
tell us a little bit
about yourself and how you got to write your book and about your life recovery. Come on.
Yes, so let's see. My name is Christi Wedell, and I was born in. No, nobody cares. I'll start actually with the story of the book and kind of work my way back through my life story and kind of what led to the book. So, as Maren mentioned, I wrote a book, which is still hard for me to wrap my brain around. It's called Shadows to Serenity. Little shameless plug there. Thank you. And you know what, Maren, side note, the idea behind this, I went back and forth with the artist because I don't know how to do this type of thing, but I knew the look that I wanted was the lady coming from this really, really dark background and heading toward the light. Which of course is, the whole idea between
to yourself
and your journey.
Yeah, it is. And so, and that's really what I did. So for 4.5, almost 5 years, it took me to write this book. And for that amount of time, I was trying to trade punches with God, if I'm honest. And so I am a woman of faith, and I'm a Christian, and I felt very strongly that when I was praying about next steps in my life and, what do I want to be when I grow up, so to speak, I felt this calling. I don't hear God, but, I felt, I guess, this presence saying, write the book. And I'm like, but why? I have an 8th grade education and a GED and 1 semester of a junior college. How am I supposed to, why, and all these questions. And it was just like I kept hearing it over and over and over. And as I mentioned to you, I tried different things. I was like, so God, how about this? How about, trying to bargain with God and said, hey, what if I go do this? What if I, write an ebook? Or, what if I just go on a couple people's podcasts that are recovery based and spread the word? And I kept gently hearing this, write the book. So I did. And it was, you and I were talking a little earlier before we jumped on about, some things can be therapeutic in nature. And what I didn't know was I went kicking and screaming about this book. And what I had no idea the cathartic, there's an SAT word, effect that it was going to have on me, because it is a memoir. I guess I should have started by saying that. It is a memoir of my life. And, it starts with my childhood, coming from abuse and heading into like really abusive relationships and just making very poor choices based on, the upbringing that I had and the decisions that I had to make at that time. And also because of a lot of selfishness and self-centeredness. And so, and then that brought me into full-blown addiction. And then I've now been sober for next month will be 11 years. Oh my gosh.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's see where I started. So I was born in Houston, Texas, in the 70s. 1974. I don't mind saying it. And
Right,
so,
Right for your age.
About that
That's
age.
about that age.
oh well, thank you. I appreciate that. But it was an interesting time, the 70s and 80s. And so, parents didn't have Chat GPT, and they didn't have, the Google, so to speak. And so I feel like they were doing the best that they could with the information that they had at the time, right? So, let's see, my mom and dad got divorced when I was 3. And then my dad actually got custody of myself and my sister. So I have an older sister named Tracy, and she's 4 years older than me. I like to remind her of that every chance I get. But she's older. And
I'm the oldest, so I'm her fan. Sorry, Tracy.
yeah, you never get to live it down, I feel like. We love to rub it in. And so Tracy became my, not only my older sister, but she was my shield through a lot of, and so here's kind of what happened is my dad, remarried about a year or 2 after they got divorced. And then that woman would become my stepmom. And, again, she came from an abusive home herself. And, like I said, they were doing the best they could with the information they had in the 70s and in the 80s. And you only knew what you knew, and you only knew what you'd grown up with. And so, it took a long time to wrap my brain around the fact that, yes, those things were horrible that she did to us in terms of abuse. And for your audience sake, I won't go into detail about it. It is in the book. There is one chapter dedicated to that. And I will say the only reason I wrote that chapter, because I tried to skip it, trust me.
Yeah, but God told you not to.
God told me not to. I felt that. And then it was like, people need to be able to identify with you. And if someone has had horrific child abuse and I skip right over that, what is the point of even writing the book? And I was like, oh man. So I there was physical and psychological and emotional abuse of every kind that you can think of happened under that roof. And so I will just leave that right where it is. And it was very difficult because I remember there's this story. And I remember when I was just this little tiny little petite thing at, 3 years old. And I think I was 4 when they got married. And so, basically when I met her, I ran up to her and I was like, and I sat on her lap and I was like, are you going to be my new mommy? And I was so excited. Because I had that abandonment wound already, because my mom wasn't around,
Absolutely.
And it wasn't that my mom left us. It was that she had a very low paying job and had been married to my dad, who had a great job. And so essentially it was because he made the money, and she just literally wasn't going to be able to keep us and afford to, get us clothes and all the necessities and things. Yeah, and so she did, the hardest thing I think a mother ever has to do, really, is to give us to him. And so yeah, I was, either way, no matter how that happens, there's this abandonment wound, is what I would learn that it would be called. And it really stays with a person for a very long time, possibly forever. Now, I have healed from that for the most part, but it's still
there.
creeps up every once in a while. It likes to rear its ugly head every once in a while, and I'm like, no.
I've worked through you.
Exactly. So, so they, so for 8 years, we went through this sort of systematic abuse, and eventually the school where my sister went to school, she was now a freshman in high school, and that's where in the 80s you would have to dress out for gym, which means you just have to change into some different clothing. And we had been able to hide the extent of the abuse until then. And then someone, the coach, saw And then that started, we got the state of Texas involved, and CPS is what we call it here in Texas, Child Protective Services. And they very quickly realized that the situation was bad and we were grossly underweight from not eating and all the things. So they took us out of our home, and I remember being terrified. Like, they call it trauma bonded now. It wasn't a word back then, but we wanted to stay because it didn't matter how abused we were. It's all we knew. And if that's your family, that's what you're dealt with, and you don't know that everybody else is not living that way, then you have just learned to survive and you've learned to accept it. You just assume that, I thought up until that point, that everybody had those things happen to them.
Yeah.
And so then we go to this, emergency shelter type of place, and that was traumatic. And there's all these people, and they're, just from different walks of life and older, and some abuse happened there, if you know what I'm saying. So finally, this lovely couple came and took us for the weekend, and then came another weekend, and it was the sweetest couple. The lady was disabled; she could walk, but had a limp and had a glass eye, but she was, and her husband were the sweetest souls you could ever just imagine. I mean, Christian couple, they went to church, but it wasn't even that. It was that they were, it was that, but they were the kindest and sweetest people ever. And we had never treated that way. No, we'd never been, they took us to Walmart, okay? This is how bad it was. Like, we'd never been taken. Yes, I got to go get some new clothes that were not, like, tattered and torn and hand-me-downs. And my sister, her toe was sticking out of her shoe, and so was mine. So we got 2 new pairs of shoes. And, man, it was wonderful and also terrifying. Because we didn't understand that. Why are they doing that? What is their MO? Because we have lived in survival mode, and so our minds and bodies and brains had been taught that if someone does something nice for you, they're then going to expect something in return. Yes, and so I was kind of standoffish, and my sister was kind of standoffish, and what a terrible thing for children to be in a place where they can't trust adults enough to where they can accept that these people are just nice people.
Literally waiting for something bad to happen. When's it gonna happen?
Yes.
It's gonna happen. It's coming.
Yeah, exactly. And so then we went home and we had our own bedrooms, which was wild. And it doesn't matter if you share a bedroom with another, but it was this whole.
But it's awesome to have your own space.
Yes, and there were stuffed animals in there that we got to love on and hold while we slept, and just a whole new world opened up. And so, but here's what happens, because at that point, so I would have been in, 9th grade, what is that, 8, 7, 6. So I was in 5th grade at that time. A lot of stuff has happened from, then to 5th grade, and so, or almost 6th grade. And so it kind of set in motion what I now know in recovery. I cannot trust this because this is very calm and this is very peaceful. And I know that every night we're going to do the same thing. We're going to eat at the same time. We're going to pray at the same time. No one's going to come in the middle of the night to do awful things. No one's going to, I'm going to get to sleep through the night. And that was terrifying, if that makes sense. In a weird way, you get accustomed to the survival mode, and your brain is always on, even when you're sleeping, kind of always alert. And so, what happened?
You're in the calm between the storms. Waiting for that storm to happen.
Yes, and then also your brain is addicted to that chaos because it's all it's ever known. And so my addiction started way before I ever took a drink of alcohol. I was addicted to the chaos and the trauma and the excitement and the bad boys will come later. All of that falls under that traumatic umbrella of when you are traumatized as a child, generally speaking, not always, but generally speaking, it will then open you up to where you are more prone to abusive relationships. You're more prone to self-harm. You're more prone to overeating, substance abuse, alcohol abuse. Fill in the thing with whatever it is that you can fill it in, because we have this, in my opinion, this is my opinion part of it. There is this God-sized hole in every single one of us that we can never fill with men, sex, drugs, alcohol, food, whatever, shopping, whatever it is. Gambling, yes. That God-sized hole you'll never be able to get satisfied until that's filled with God. Just my own personal opinion.
Yeah.
So,
I'm a
Catholic girl. I'm
okay, cool, yay. And so, yeah, so then my aunt, so anytime, at least in the state of Texas in the 80s, anytime that a family member steps up and says, hey, we'll take them, then essentially, because that couple that was caring for us, they had not officially adopted us, they were just our foster parents. They were our foster parents for a year, but they had not officially adopted us yet. Mainly because my poor mom just did not want to make it finalized. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I'm really glad that she didn't. And so we went to live with my aunt. And here's how that happened. Okay, now picture this. This is the 80s, where bright red lipstick, short, kind of spiky, Texas, big hair, blonde, blonde, big old spiky hair, and like spunk and dark, like red or sort of, I don't even know, rosy, like heavy makeup, just red, long red nails. You know, it's the whole 80s Jane Fonda situation, okay? She was all that in a bag of chips, okay? She had it going on, sister. And so she already had 3 kids, and they were sort of our age, and this looked like, oh my gosh, bring on the chaos. In my brain, subconsciously, what came out of my mouth was, I really want to go live with my aunt because she's family. But really what was going on in my mind is I was already learning how to manipulate people. I was already learning that I could lie and manipulate people to get what I wanted. And it worked. And it worked and worked and worked and worked until it didn't work at the very end of my addiction. So I figured out at a very early age, I had the gift of gab. I don't know if you've noticed that or not, but yeah. So I used that to my advantage every opportunity I got. And so we went to live with my aunt, and she's passed away since, but she was the sweetest. She did the best that she could with 5 kids now. And, you know, eventually it was so cool though, because we got to go play sports, and I got my first like tape. You remember tapes with music on them?
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say you might be too young, but I don't know.
I'm 45.
So.
I'm 45.
Okay. So, you're much younger than me, but you probably do remember tapes. Okay, cool. And then CDs and all that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We used to burn the CDs. Do you remember that?
Oh, heck
my
yeah.
God.
So many.
Oh, my
So
God.
many.
We'll have to. That's a different topic for a different day.
Mayor on stuff.
We're not even going to talk about the piracy laws that we probably broke back then.
Right? I know.
Statute of limitations, my friend. We can't be taken down for that now.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's see. So we're living with my aunt. We're playing sports, watching them play sports. Every weekend it's a different ball game, and lots of fun. I enjoyed every minute of it. But unfortunately, my uncle and her couldn't see eye to eye, and they ended up getting a divorce. And so now she's, single with 3 kids. And so that was a very difficult time, for her, even though I never really felt like gosh, we don't have any money or we don't have anything. I mean, she was just really good at providing, you know, and so, but at that point, we end up, you know, going from this household to that household, and it was like, okay, well, I'm going to go live with my grandma, and then again, my manipulation, I realized I could go live with my grandma. Now, I was very close with her. I will say, I did want to live with her because I loved her dearly. Also, I knew that she didn't hear very well, and my grandpa was in poor health, and she was really focused on trying to keep him alive at that point.
Yeah.
He had kidney failure and was doing dialysis every week, and so he was going downhill quickly. So I wanted to move in with her to help take care of him because I loved him dearly. And then I figured out that I could sneak out the window because he's asleep and he's on all this medication at this point. He can't hear. And she can't hear. And I'm like, oh, shoot, it is on. So I'm like 15, 16 now, and I just, like, that's the first time I went to a party, the first time I tasted alcohol, I drank alcoholically. Literally, like, the first sip, it went down, Maren, it went down in my system, and I remember going, for the first time in my life, I could exhale. Because we all know that calming effect that the first drop of alcohol gives you. And so I would end up chasing that calming effect almost to death. So for me, what alcohol did is it quieted the voices in my head. Sounds like I'm absolutely batshit crazy. Oh, sorry. Ooh, sorry. You'll have to cut that out. But it quieted the voice in my head that was always telling me you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're way behind in school, no one likes you, you know, and all of those types of negative voices that had been put there or that I had put there over the years. Nobody wants you, that's why you can't find a place to live, not even your own mom wanted you, you know, and where was your dad when he was supposed to be protecting you? You know, you're just what I heard from all of that collectively is that I really just didn't belong in this world. That I just really was worthless. And why am I even here? Like, God, if there is a God, why did you put me here just to go through all of this? Like, maybe I was a mistake, you know? And so what alcohol did for me was it shut all that down. It just quieted it down temporarily. So I drank alcoholically from the first drink of alcohol. I also was in a situation where even all that abuse had happened in my childhood, the one thing that I had held on to all these years was my purity. Okay, we'll just call it that. And that was the one thing that I was like, nobody can take this from me. This is the one thing that nobody's been able to actually physically take this away. And I really believed that one day I would get married and I would share that with my husband. And I don't know where those ideals came from because I certainly didn't learn those growing up. But just in my heart, it's what I really wanted to do. And so that first time that I drank alcoholically, I was at a party. And it was a house party. And it was in the 80s. The music was very loud. The parents weren't home, of course. And that was taken from me against my will. And nobody could hear. It was super loud. And, you know, and so I walked away from that with a solidified view of myself that you are dirty, you are unworthy. You put yourself in that position. You drank alcohol and you're not even supposed to be drinking alcohol. You could probably go to jail for what you did because you were drinking. I mean, all these things because a 16-year-old brain is underdeveloped. And I didn't know what the law was. I had certainly, it was way before Me Too. I don't know if your listeners can even imagine. But in the 80s, there was whatever happened behind closed doors, family or otherwise, stayed behind closed doors because you were going to be shamed and told that it was all your fault. You would wear a scarlet letter for everyone to see. And I had already felt so much humiliation and shame because now everybody at school knew. I couldn't, so I never told anyone. The only people that knew were the few people that knew at school, and they weren't going to go home and tell their parents because what were they doing at the party or what, you know?
Exactly.
And so that would begin a long line of drinking to shut off the shame. Okay, so there's these things that you can see that are planted along the way it's becoming more and more obvious that I need to shut that down with alcohol as quickly as possible, as much as I can, all the time. And so I didn't become an alcoholic overnight, not even a little bit. I don't have alcoholism in my family per se. I'm pretty sure, though, that my paternal grandfather, he was an eye surgeon, and he liked to he had his own bar. Literally, a room in his home was a bar, and they had the pool. And so it was the 80s with the, music playing out there and the pretty people and all the parties and stuff.
Yeah.
So I imagine he probably struggled with an alcohol problem. If not, he had maybe alcohol abstinence. Yeah, I don't know. But either way, who cares? It doesn't matter. Because I truly believe, and this is a point of some contention for some people in my recovery space, but I believe I was born alcoholic. Like I believe that I was born with it, and then I drank myself into it. You know,
my dad had alcoholism. My grandfather, my uncles.
Yeah, it
definitely runs in our family. So.
And can you look back on their lives and see the sort of the character defects of lying, manipulating, all of those things that were there way before the alcohol.
They went through.
I love my grandpa. He's passed away now, but
he was a great
grandpa.
But he wasn't
a great dad.
Yeah,
they went through physical abuse and things like that. So.
And plus, it was
it's
the country back in the 70s,
so they
it was okay.
It was okay to drink. They never did drugs.
Right?
Never done drugs.
But
my dad drank
a little too much.
Not
anymore, though.
Not anymore, though. Neither of my parents drink.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. That makes your life, I'm sure, so much easier, too.
And my
mom never has had a problem with alcohol.
And my dad,
he kind of, for our childhood, he never was.
He was just the
He
funny
was just
guy.
the funny guy. He just drank too many beers.
Country
Like a country guy, he'd come home from work.
He lived on a big
farm.
He would go take
He would go take care of the animals. He's having a couple beers after work, and sometimes he was just a little too many.
He was a happy drunk when he was drinking.
Right. Well, because there's definitely different kinds.
I was still predisposed to that. I agree with you on that.
My nose is itchy, and I was trying to itch it without being like I was picking my nose. Although I might do that.
Right.
Your viewers, you might get more views on TT. Who knows?
I know. TT likes some weird stuff.
Oh my gosh, TT, we love you. TikTok, we love you. TikTok, we love you. Make sure you keep that in there. But let's see. So I'm drinking. Fast forward, I don't want to bore you with all the details or your listeners, but like every opportunity I got after that, I drank as much as possible, whenever possible. I would seek out the friends and the friend groups of those people who were a little older, could get alcohol, those people who drank like I did. And that is a pattern also that would continue all the way through my adult life. And so, let's see, I'm bouncing from home to home, and each place I lived was like this different set of expectations. So I became like this social chameleon, if you will. And it's like, hey, I'll be, the good Christian girl over here, and then over here, they are a little wild, kind of like my aunt's house was fun and wild, and I can be this way here. And so it was like I learned, and that I would take into my adulthood, just to mask and be whatever you wanted me to be, whoever you were. And so I never learned who I was. Yeah, and that is so devastating. It's like I didn't even, yeah. So I'm 38 years old before I actually would figure that out. And so, you know, I met him, which is my daughter's father, and it was a wonderful experience. We met when I was 19, got married at 21, had my beautiful daughter, moved into the white picket fence house. He's going to save me, okay? He's going to fix me. He's from a Christian home, and I'm going to go to church 3 times a week, and I'm going to become more, very in a dogmatic type of religion, if you know what I mean. It's all about what you wear or what you don't wear, and it's all about your appearance, and you better not do this, and you better not do that. Otherwise, you're definitely going straight to hell. And that worked for me because I was so unstructured and so undisciplined that it gave me a focus where I could be like, oh, okay, I can be this. I can be this. And I really thought at the time, to the core of my being, if I had taken a lie detector test, I would have told you that, yes, I am this person. I am this, and I won't name the type, but I am this type of religious person without a doubt. That's who I am. That's my identity now. And what I didn't know is that we would go through a divorce a few years later. And what I didn't know is that those people would turn on me in a huge way and really deeply wound me in a way that was very difficult. Now, my part in that is that I did leave my daughter's father for multiple reasons that I won't get into, but there was I'll just say that there were things that were being seen by him that weren't me, that didn't make me feel like wanted as a wife, right? So that was and then the struggle I had too was, for the longest time, for a whole year, I desperately wanted to get counseling and therapy, and let's fix this, and this is not the end all be all, but so the trust was gone because I kept catching him doing it. Then it was the whole thing of I'm not that, and then also it brought me back to that childhood wound of I'm not good enough, I'm not this, I'm not that, right? So it deepened that wound inside of me. And now, when we get divorced, Lord, Maren, it is on. I go out. I go buy myself a convertible. I go get me some physical alterations in the upper body portion, right? And I am just gonna. I go absolutely just off the rails as far as my drinking goes, because he took my daughter and said, if you're going to divorce me, I'm going to make you're only going to have her like every other weekend. And he had his mom's money, and he had lots and lots of money. And there's no way in God's green earth that I would have been able to fight it. At the time, we were living in a very father-friendly state. That gave him custody, and I tried for many years to try and fight it, and it was going to be like $10,000 retainer, and then amount of money I just did not have at that time, nor did my family have. They could not have gone up against a multimillionaire. It just wasn't going to happen. And so, and it was devastating because my daughter was and is my everything. I had stayed home with her for 2 full years. I was a full-time mom, day, night. We were glued together. We were so, so bonded. And when he took her and ripped her away from me and ripped me away from her, it was absolutely horrific. And so when I say I took off and went and did all these things, it was because I was so absolute, and it wasn't even that I was absolutely hurt, but it was what I knew he was doing to her that was so devastating and so heartbreaking, knowing that this little 3-year-old girl doesn't understand where's my mom,
Mommy's not here.
and
Especially when you're a good mom.
And yeah, exactly. There was no drugs or alcohol. There was no reason. There was obviously no abuse. It was the most beautiful thing. And so that's why I just kind of went off the deep end, and I was like, okay, well, literally hold my beer, watch this, you know?
Yeah.
And I just didn't care. I didn't care anymore. I didn't care. I was drinking and driving. I hate to admit that, but just drinking and driving recklessly. I mean, truth be told, I just didn't care if I lived or died. So I was living that way. And, you know, through it all, I have this career that I started in when I was 19. And this career is one that, you know, everyone drinks. Everybody went out and partied in my industry. And so I grew up in that industry thinking that everybody partied like that. Everybody went to work halfway hung over halfway through the day, and then you did it all again the next night. And what I didn't know is that I was slowly walking myself into an addiction that would be devastating. And so I drank like the little, you know, good mom and good worker that I was for a good 15 years. And then one year, there were several things that happened in succession. One of them, I lost my best friend to this disease. And I saw some things that were very traumatic at one of the buildings I worked at. And so there was these 4 things that happened. And all of a sudden, it's like I woke up and my best friend turned on me. Okay, so my best friend, alcohol, who had been there with me through the crying, through the tears, through the celebrations, everybody's birthdays, all through everything.
Good, bad, and the
ugly. Good, bad, and the ugly. That was my best friend went, ooh, and it turned on me. And what I mean by that is all of a sudden, I was waking up shaking like a leaf. Just my whole body was shaking, my hands were shaking. And now I can't really, I mean, it's very obvious to everybody at work that something's not right. And so I had this really posh job. I'm working in this leasing office as the marketing director of this big high rise in downtown Dallas. And now I'm drinking every night because I can just walk to the bar for it's downtown.
Yeah.
So it was this perfect storm of this collision and it created this just awful experience where now I'm addicted to alcohol. Now my body is physically showing signs. When you have a hangover that lasts all day, which I was doing, and you're shaking, that sign of shaking and the sign of a hangover, truth be told, is alcohol poisoning. And when you're shaking like that, it's because your body is desperately crying out for more alcohol. That's why it's shaking. People think it's a hangover. No, it's because your body is desperately crying out. Because what would happen is when I would go home, yes, I would drink 1 or 2 sips of that alcohol, get a little glass of it in me, and the shakes would stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm waking up at 4 a.m. every morning having to drink alcohol to shut down the voices, to shut down the severe anxiety. Because now what alcohol does to your body over time is it cures the anxiety short term,
Yes.
you know, like back when I was 16. And then what happens is it creates it tenfold. So I don't know if you don't have to say yes or no,
Oh, my
but your
entire
listeners,
2024 is exactly what you just said.
The shaking,
the shaking,
the waking up,
having to drink
stop
to
it.
stop it.
really?
Literally having to drink to stop it.
Oh my
And if
God.
If I didn't drink, it was just like,
it was bad.
it was bad.
And
Tell
I was
me a
on
little
I
bit-
was on FMLA at the time.
So,
Yeah.
no one
had
to see me
had to
that
see
way.
me that way.
My
My
husband's at work.
husband's at work.
I was
Before
before
2024,
2024.
yes, I drank.
But
Yeah.
I was never,
But I was never
what I would say,
what I would
an
say an
alcoholic.
alcoholic.
But
But
when all the
when
medical,
all the medical
stuff
started happening,
and I had to go
and I had to go on
on
FMLA,
I lost who I was. As an HR,
Yeah.
As an
the
big thing I loved
being there
was
for my
being
people.
there
My
for
people
my
loved me. I
people.
was a
My
different
people
type
loved
of
me.
HR
I was a
director,
different
they
type of
said.
HR director.
I
They
was
said.
for
I bet you.
I was for the company
Yes, you're
too.
for the company
I was for my
too,
people.
but I was for my people.
And that, I
And
put
that-
myself on the back burner.
I put myself on the back
Formal
burner.
on
I was
myself.
formal
because
on
I just
myself because I just
was trying to be there for everyone
was
else.
trying to
And
be
that
there
gave
for
me
everyone
joy.
else. And
That's
that
the only
gave
joy
me
I
joy.
had, even
That's
though
the
it
only
was
joy I
false
had,
joy.
even though it was false joy.
with taking that away from me,
with taking that away from me, and having
nothing I'm living for
nothing I'm
on a daily
living
basis.
for on a daily basis, and you're living your life, and you love your husband, you love your family. But I didn't feel like I was
and I
empty.
started drinking more.
Yeah.
And I started drinking more. And drinking more.
I had never drank before
And I
work.
had never drank before work. I never drank at work. I never was that person.
And here I am now.
And here I am now.
Dying until 7 a.m.
Dying until 7 a.m.
You could
in
buy
that
beer
you
or
could buy
wine.
beer or wine.
Yes.
It was 7 a.m. I was at
And
the
it was
store.
so bad.
And it was so bad that I went to the same store every day, and they knew what I wanted. And it was on the counter when I got to the store. I didn't even have to go get it. They knew I'd be there, what time, and they had my stuff on the counter.
And
oh my
so
gosh.
That's the first thing I had to get up.
That's the first thing I had to get up after rehab, though. When they said change people, places, and things.
You gotta find a new
Yes.
store to go to.
You gotta find a new store to go to.
Because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
couldn't-
for
I
sure.
couldn't say no.
I
Because
couldn't
even at first
say
when I
no.
was
Because even at
trying
first when I
on
was
my own to
trying
quit,
on my own to quit,
I'd go to the store.
I'd go
I
to the
wasn't there
store.
for alcohol.
I wasn't there for
I
alcohol.
may have just going to get a water.
I may have just going to get a water, or I smoked something, maybe a pack of
But I was
cigarettes.
like,
But I was like,
my alcohol.
here's
And
my
I couldn't
alcohol.
say no. And so
And
I
I couldn't
never
say
was giving
no. And
myself
so
a
I
chance
never was giving
to
myself a
fully
chance
get
to
clean
fully
and, be able to
get
work on
clean
myself
and,
because
be able to work on myself because
I had low self-esteem.
I
and I could
low
embarrass.
self-esteem and I could embarrass and I couldn't
So
say
here I
no.
am drinking again. I didn't
So
plan
here I
to.
am drinking again. I didn't
I
plan
really
to.
was trying to stop.
I really was trying to
Now
stop.
I have it, so it's drinking.
Now I have it, so
And
it's
right before I
drinking.
went to rehab,
And right before I went to rehab in
December 2024,
December
it
2024,
was bad.
it was
I
bad,
was
bad.
drinking and
I was
literally,
drinking
my husband didn't drink.
and literally
And so
my
he
husband
was
didn't drink.
not
And
understanding.
so he was
wasn't
not
there during the day
understanding
to
because he
see what I
wasn't
was
there
doing.
during the day to see what I was doing, and I was
He
hiding.
knew in the evening time
He
I
knew
was
that in the
drunk,
evening time I was
but
drunk,
he didn't realize
but he didn't
it
realize
started at 7 a.m.
it had started at
I
7
hit all
a.m.
that.
Right.
I hit all
So
of
once
that.
he knew though,
So
I
once
would
he
tell
knew
him,
though, I would tell him
I
like,
need you to go get me alcohol.
I need you to go
I can
get
shake
me
it so bad
alcohol.
I
I can
can't move.
shake it so bad I can't
right now.
move.
There's
I
no way
can't go
can
get it
up
right now.
on
There's
this
no
couch.
way I can even get up
But
on
I
this
have to
couch.
have
Yes.
it so I
But
can
I
not
have
feel
to
this.
have it so I
And then it
cannot
got to
feel
where,
this.
Yes.
And then it
against
got
his
to
best
where,
judgment,
against
he
his
would go
best
get it and,
judgment, he
basically
would
be
go
like,
get
I'm not
it
gonna
and
do
like
this again,
basically be
Maren.
like, I'm not
I
going to do
can't-
this
I
again,
can't
Maren.
contribute to
I
what you're
can't.
doing to
I can't
yourself.
contribute to what you're doing
And then
to
the next thing
yourself.
I know,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the next thing I know,
my friends didn't
my
know,
parents
no one
didn't
knew what
know,
was going
my
on in
friends
the
didn't know, no one knew what was going on in the
and he
house.
barely knew.
Yeah.
But my husband, and he barely knew.
And he called my
And
mom, and he was
He
he's my
called my
best friend.
mom, and he was my best friend.
It's
And
intervention time.
it's intervention time.
And they are who
Yeah.
set up. My
Yeah.
sister
They
who
are
lives
who
in
set up.
California
My sister who lives
actually
in
called
California
with me on
actually
three-way
called
to a
with me
rehab
on
center.
three-way to a rehab center.
And because I just could barely
Wow.
talk for myself.
Because I
and
just could
needed
barely talk for
someone
myself, and I
to be
needed
able to give
someone
details and let them
to
know
be
what
able
was
to
going
give
on.
details and let them know what was going on.
So we
And
finally went to rehab.
so we
in,
finally went to
December
rehab in
2024,
December
and
2024, and
2024 and 2025
but 2024 and 2025 were some rough
But
times.
2026 is looking
Yeah.
so much
2026
better
is
though.
looking so much better though.
I get the shakes.
Yes,
I get
it
the
I
is.
get
physical
the
cravings,
shakes. I get
and
the physical
I
cravings.
wouldn't wish that on
and
my worst enemy.
I wouldn't wish that
Like
on my
people
worst
who've
enemy.
never
I
experienced
literally
People who've
wouldn't.
never
Me
experienced
either.
that.
Oh my God,
And getting
no!
over
It's
that, I
the
never-
it's the
And getting over
crippling.
that, I never. Oh
Yeah,
man.
it is literally.
Yeah, it is.
And
literally.
everyone sees
It's
it.
that
My-
crippling
and everyone was
anxiety.
shaking. It
My
wasn't
whole
just my
mouth
body
was
that-
shaking.
my
Yes,
tongue
my
was
body
yes,
that-
like
your whole
that.
My tongue
inside.
was shaking,
And I just, like,
barely
stunned,
talk,
like,
and I'm
you
just
know.
like stunned, like you know.
And I'm
Yes,
glad
your
my
whole, because
parents
you're
did-
shaking
And I'm
from
glad
the
my parents
inside.
and friends, they didn't
Yes,
see that.
literally from the
Yes,
inside.
literally.
And
You-
just
it's
the
like I
inside.
felt like
And
my
you just
bones were
cannot
shaking.
stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I took
Yeah.
medication
Oh my
for
gosh.
anxiety
And I
stuff
took
like that.
medication for
Sometimes I
anxiety
would
and
say,
stuff
"Hey,
like
you just
that.
need
Sometimes I would
Panadol
say,
for
maybe
my
you
heart
just
rate."
need a
But
panel
it's
from a
not
heart
your
rate.
heart
But
rate. It
it's not
feels like
your
it, but
heart
it's
rate.
more
It
than
feels
that.
like
So
it, but
much
it's
more than that.
more than that.
A
It is.
propanol is not going to help
It's
you.
it's
A
a
panel is not going to help you. It
yeah.
may calm you down a little, but
My goodness, I just want to say,
Unfortunately,
Maren, that I am
unfortunately, I get you.
I'm so grateful and so thankful that you got the help that you needed and that you deserved, because you deserve to live a healthy, happy life. You know that, right?
Yeah,
I
I
hope
do.
you know that.
Yeah, I do.
I have the best
Okay.
husband.
Yeah,
I
I have
the
want
best
to
husband,
be a
and I
good
want to be
wife.
able
I
to
wanna
be a
able
good
to
wife.
have,
I want to be able
you
to
know, a
have,
good life with him.
you know, a
'cause
good
he's
life with
amazing.
him, because
And
he's
how he
amazing.
stayed.
Yeah.
And how
One
he
little thing, and
stayed.
then we'll get back to the
One
story.
little thing, and then
Like
we'll
in
get back to the
rehab,
story.
so amazing.
Like
my
in
husband.
rehab, so amazing my
You know,
husband
we
was.
couldn't make phone calls.
You we couldn't make phone calls or have visitors and stuff like that for our
But
30
every
days.
single day,
But
my
every
husband would
single
go to the
day,
office
my husband would
and
go to
bring
the
a
office
handwritten letter
and bring a handwritten letter,
and then some type of something, whether
and then some type of something, whether it's like a little stuffed animal from
like you were
Eve,
saying, I
like
still do
cold,
that.
like you were saying, I still do that. Like, hold on, stuffed animal he got me.
Doritos
I
and
mean, he
queso.
bought me Doritos and queso. It's my favorite little snack. But he would bring enough for all the girls too.
So all
Oh
my girls,
my
we were
God.
All my
in
girls,
the
there was
room,
4 of us in a room,
always have
and
enough
he
for
would
them.
always have enough for them too.
And
Oh my
He
gosh.
was just, he's like, I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm here.
that
Yeah,
man.
he's that man.
And so all the girls every day.
And so
would
all
be
the girls every day would be like, okay, let's read my letter. Because I would read my letter. Because it was never anything like,
too much. They couldn't read.
Too much.
I'd read my
read.
letter.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd read my letters and just look and see what goodies we got that day. And
even my roommates
look forward
to having a good day
the next day.
He's an amazing man.
He's an amazing man, and he's still here. And
it's right. I mean, after rehab,
after it was out a couple of months, I actually relapsed when his dad died.
Basically,
Which was
my
basically,
dad,
my dad too. Father-in-law.
It's not even the word.
It's not even the word. He's my father too, my second dad.
So he's been there through a relapse.
So he's been there through a relapse and another, recovery. And
so he ain't going nowhere.
He ain't going nowhere.
You better not.
You better not.
I know you're listening.
No, he's
I know
not.
you're listening.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere, that sweet soul.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Yeah.
He may have actually, with his actions, he may have actually helped them to want to stay
they
sober,
did.
just
They
to
did.
see that, wow, maybe if they weren't married or
We also
whatever,
helped
there's
them.
good men out there, and so that is
They were
so
all
sweet.
single.
I'm
They were all
so glad.
single.
Yeah. So let me turn this heater off. Now it's warm. I'll be damned. Oh, sorry. It's 73 degrees here in Texas today.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
It's hot.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yesterday
where
was
Yeah,
cold
yesterday
here.
was
It's
cold
definitely
here,
not
and it's
cold
definitely
right now.
not cold right now.
But it's
Oh
cold
my
enough.
goodness.
But it's cold enough for me to where I have a little heater off by my feet.
I get cold.
Okay,
I
well,
get
let's
cold feet.
see. I don't remember where we left off. Let's see.
Oh,
Where
you
were we?
shaking.
Oh, you were shaking.
When you
Like,
working
when
now.
you were working now.
Yeah, now I'm shaking and I can't. So then they fire me from that job because you can't be around, you can't be showing apartments and showing this multi-million-dollar building that's gorgeous and trying to get people to invest and to spend thousands of dollars a month to live there. If your eyes are puffy and you can tell, you could tell it looked like I was a drug addict, honestly. No shame in that at all, but I did not look healthy at all.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm going to pull it up while we're talking just to show you this picture of the day that they took the picture the day that I went to rehab. And it's wild, but I'll find it here in a second here. But yeah, I did not look the same for sure. And so I went and from this, beautiful high rise in downtown Dallas to this really old apartment complex out in the middle of nowhere that was just a shithole. Oh, just was not very nice. And had roaches, and it's like now I'm living in the slums compared to so in 6 months I go from living in like the higher life, living in this gorgeous flat loft situation, or flat really, in a high rise, and then now I'm living in like this, and the carpet was like from the 80s, and it's like all matted up and just gross and old, and so I'm like, oh my God, how did I get here? And so I finally went to I called my parents, and they didn't have any idea because nobody was here in Dallas except for me and my daughter. And up until this point, I was able to actually still keep my visitation with her and all of that stuff. And so, nobody really knew. And so I called my stepmom and dad. Now, this is the stepmom who was not good to me in childhood.
Yeah.
But in between, I guess in my 20s, they had actually turned their lives over to God and did a complete 180. And they literally did change their lives and became beautiful humans. And so I called them and said, I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm dying. I literally don't know what to do. I'm drinking every day, all day. I would have 2 days off of work, and I would have 2 days that would be completely in a blackout. I would come to, and it's like,
blackout.
oh, I have to get up and go to work tomorrow, so I have to slow down the drinking a little. And then I called in sick a bunch of times in that 8 months that I was there, and so now I'm homeless, and well, not homeless, but yeah, basically I lost that job. And now I just moved in with a guy because he'll just have to do for now because I need a roof and he's got food. And then I moved in with another guy. So now it's just this trail of like, you know, lost soul trying to, you know, live a life. And then I meet my son's father right in the midst of all of that. And he's a heavy drinker and he does other things with me that help us stay up longer and drink more.
Right.
And so now we're in the thick of it. And I wasn't able to discern and, you know, make sure I'm choosing a person who's going to be healthy and good for me because I wasn't healthy and good myself. And so we entered into this very toxic, very scary relationship. But the only beautiful thing about that is that my son was born in 2012. And so it was 2010 when I went to my parents' house and they took me to a detox facility and I was there for 5 days. And when I got out, I thought because I was cured, I thought I didn't need to do anything. I didn't know anything about a program of recovery or any kind of whatever. Yeah. And so I just went along my merry way. And then the day came after my son was born, someone said, hey, why don't you just drink a little bit. Why don't you try, you know, the 4-packs of wine, how cute they are in the little 4-pack. So they were like,
that's what I started with, was the baby 4-packs of wine until they became 6 of them a day.
Yes, girl, and those are strong.
4-packs of wine.
Oh my God, and they're so strong. But they're deceiving because they're little. Anyway, I digress. But so I would, you know, I drank some and, you know, my life wasn't over. So then I drank a little bit more. And then very quickly, I'm back in the habit of, and I can see myself going down that road again, where I'm craving the Taco Bell, and I'm hungover till 12 or 1 o'clock, and now I have a baby in the mix, and I'm like, I can't. Well, he's almost 3 at this time, but he's a baby, and so I just yes. So I went back to the detox facility. And the lady looked at me, and this is what changed the trajectory of my life. She looked at me and she said, I remember you from last time. And she was not nice. I said, oh, I'm trying to be cutesy, like, oh, what? Yeah. She goes, it's not funny. There's nothing funny about what you're doing. She goes, if you don't get out of here and do something different with your life, your children are going to visit you at your gravesite or behind prison plate glass. You get to make the decision. Where do you want them to see you? Because if you keep doing what you're doing, those are your choices. And I was like, oh, she was not playing. There was this woman she was an older African-American lady with a no BS way of speaking. And when she talked, you listened. Exactly. And here was the difference. People had told me through the years, Christi, you should slow down. Christi, you party too much. Christi, da-da-da-da-da. I'd had 2 DWIs. My attorney, the judge, whoever, whatever, lots of people through the years had said, you should probably slow down or you should probably quit drinking. She didn't say that. She is what I call spoke alcoholism. She basically told me like it was, and she left no doubt about where I was headed. And that scared me enough to where I said, okay, I broke down, bawling my eyes out, snot flaring everywhere. What do? I don't know how. Last time I left here, I tried, and I did. She goes, here's what you're going to do. And this is just for me, so everybody who's listening, this is a program of recovery that works for me. I also say there is no one particular way to recovery that's for everybody. So let me make sure that that's very, very clear. Some people go to church and find Jesus. Some people work AA. Some people work NA, Cocaine Anonymous, Celebrate Recovery. I don't even know. I could begin to name them. There's probably, 100. The way that I got sober, and this is my story, is she said, get out of here, go get go visit some AA groups or NA or wherever you need to go find a group of people who are just like you. You need to go find you some drunks. And I was like, but not at the bar. I'm like, oh, okay. Got it. So she
Some
said,
recovering drunks, okay?
go find a home group.
Some recovering drunks, okay?
Yeah. Go get you a sponsor within the first 30 days of being out of rehab. Get you a sponsor. Work the steps as you see fit, whether it's NA, CA, whatever. Not as you see fit, but whatever program you decide to work the steps. Don't just go and show up and half-ass it. And so she gave me sort of this prescription, like just take it off the, like I don't know, like you would take a prescription back in the day and just tear it off and give it to somebody.
Yeah,
that's what she did. She gave me this prescription that for me in my life and my path opened up an entire new way of life. I left there and I listened to that woman, and I went to several different groups, and she said, you need to leave here. One really important part I left out is you need to go into a 30-day inpatient rehab. This 3 or 5 days in detox is not going to work for you because you need to get down to causes and conditions. Why do you keep making the choice? Why do you think you have a choice? Because once you drink, it's been shown with your record, you've said it, you have no more control over what's going to happen, where you're going to go, who you're going to wake up next to. You don't have any control over anything that happens after you take that first drink. If you're saying that that's the case, then this is what you do. And I listened to her, and I did it, and I got out. I went to a 30-day inpatient rehab. In fact, I was there after I got out of the detox. I was there the next morning at the airport. They flew me out to rehab, and I went to every single class they had. I listened to everything they said. It was an AA-based treatment facility. By the way, anytime, I'm not really supposed to mention AA, so let me just qualify by saying I do not represent Alcoholics Anonymous in any way, shape, or form. This is just my personal experience. I have to put that in there anytime I slip up and say AA. So I got out and attended meetings. I found a sponsor. I started working the steps. And, like I said, when I went to that rehab, I took advantage of everything they had. And they finally were able to diagnose me with anxiety and ADHD. And it was like they gave me some, and not everybody takes medication or believes in it. This is just my story. I was so grateful because it quieted the voices in my head without me having to drink. And so for me, it opened up this whole new world of healing. It's very difficult to work any kind of steps or any kind of program if you can't think straight. So for me, what those medications did is just kind of gave me a baseline of healthy brain to then begin to unpack the years and years of trauma, and most importantly in those steps, figure out where I had made decisions to hurt people and go back and make those amends to those people. And today, in 10 years of recovery, I am very active in my home group. I go everywhere and tell my story. Anywhere that will hear me, I'm telling my story tonight in a few hours. And I do these things not because people say, oh, well, I don't want to do that because they say you have to, do that forever. No one has ever told me I have to do anything forever. When you have faced, in my opinion, the devil, when you have seen demons at the foot of your bed, which I did at the end, literally, and you have been given the grace of God and you have been taken out of the hands of those demons, I can never do enough to repay the God and the program that saved my life. So I do these things not because I have to, but because I want to give back to the program that saved my life. Because I want this program to be available when another woman goes, I'm hopeless, I'm helpless, nobody can, I'm just a hopeless cause. And I can come along and scoop her up and say, I've been right where you are. And there is hope. If there's breath in your lungs, there is hope for your recovery. And that is what I want. If you don't take anything away from this, I want your listeners to hear this and pass the message along to someone who needs it. There's got to be someone in your life maybe that's struggling, and they've come to you, and you're like, I don't know what to do. Let me chat GPT it or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But just like the only person that I could hear was another alcoholic, a lot of times that's the case for your loved ones and your friends who are in that situation.
They've been there, they
So,
understand.
They've been there, they understand.
I've talked a lot. I'm on social media, Christi Wedell. I'm not anonymous necessarily, so there's my, if you want to screenshot that. And then I'm on TikTok. Gosh, now I've forgotten what my handle is. Let me look it up. But thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you.
Recovery advocate.
Oh, here it is. It's
It's picturing it in my head.
There it is. If anybody wants to screenshot it,
There you go.
that's me on TikTok. And then it's
And definitely look
the
her up,
Christi
you guys.
Wedell.
She is
And
an
definitely look
amazing soul,
her up,
as
you
you've
guys.
heard
She
today.
is an amazing soul,
She
as you've heard
has
it today.
Came
Well,
from
she
the
has
trenches and is a
Came
survivor
from the trenches and is a survivor and a warrior, and she
so
was so
glad that
strong.
you came and shared
And
your
I'm
story.
so glad that you
We
came
have
and
so
shared
much
your
in
story.
common. So many things
We
that
have
you
so much
said
in
resonated
common.
with me.
So many things that
and
you said
we were meant
resonate with
to meet. We were
me,
meant to hear
and we were meant
each other's
to meet.
stories.
We were meant to hear each
I'm
other's
just glad
stories.
that
and
you
I'm
found
just
your
glad
peace
that
and
you
recovered and
you
you're
found your
recovering
peace and
every
you
day
recovered and you're recovering
helping
every
other
day
people do
and
the same.
helping other people
That's
do the
what we're called
same.
to do.
That's
Hurt
what we're
people
called to
hurt
do.
people is what
That
we
is-
Hurt
did.
people hurt
Yeah.
people is
But
what we did.
sage people save
But
people.
sage people
So
save people.
I'm
That's
so glad
right.
that you're
Ooh,
using
So
what
glad
you've
yes.
you're using what you've been through.
100%. Yes,
You're using
ma'am.
what you've been through to help someone else.
Thank
So,
you
Yeah.
so much.
thank you
for
so much for sharing your
today.
story with us
And
today.
we just may have to have
And
you
we
Thank
just
back
may
on
have
you.
to
for
have
the
you
second
back on
book,
and write
'cause
your
I'm sure it's
second
gonna
book because
happen,
I'm sure it's going to happen, right?
Oh my goodness. Let me get past. I just published this one in August, so maybe give me a year. I do. So in the comments of Maren's post, when she posts this on TikTok, I want to know from you, the listeners, the people who've tuned into this, what would benefit somebody in recovery the best, do you think? I was thinking about writing a 30-day, like your first 30 days in recovery journal. So like, journal prompts and
Because journals are
great resource.
great resource.
and just providing them with like, oh my gosh, yes, this day sucks. I know it does. You feel like your insides are going to crawl out, and just like some real talk, and then let them write down their thoughts for that day. So drop it in the comments if you guys would like to see something like that, or if you think that would benefit an alcoholic in recovery.
I think so. I think
I
that's
think
great.
so. I think that's great.
Thank
I
you.
would support that.
I would support that. I would support that.
We had the best hour.
We had the best hour conversation here, you guys.
So
I
glad
am
again, like
so
I said,
glad
thank you.
again, like I said,
If
thank
you were
you.
interested, like you
If
said,
you were
she showed
interested,
you
like
the
she
book,
said, she
Shadows
showed you
to
the book,
Serenity.
Shadows to Serenity.
She's gonna mail me one. I'm gonna have a
She's gonna mail
signed
me
copy,
one. I'm gonna
right?
have a signed
That's
copy.
right. That's right. It is on the. I don't want to say it on TikTok, but it's on the Zon,
Yeah.
the
it's on
place that likes
Yeah,
to
it's on
deliver
the
things
Zon,
the next
yeah.
day.
Right.
Right.
Look her up, you guys.
Thank
Look
you.
her up, you guys. She was
Thank you so
amazing.
much,
Thank you
Christi.
so much,
cannot
Christi.
wait
I
to maybe do
cannot
this
wait
again,
to maybe do
to
this
continue
again.
our
To
friendship
continue
and
our
recovery
friendship and
journeys
our
together.
recovery journeys
You're
together.
an amazing woman.
You are an amazing woman.
And
Thank you so much. I
And
truly
never forget
appreciate
that.
you.
Never forget that.
Never forget
Thank
that.
you.
Never
So strong.
forget that. So strong.
So you
Thank
guys,
you.
So you guys,
that
just remember that you matter.
You are enough.
You are enough.
And never,
And
ever
never,
try to do
ever
this
try
alone.
to do this alone.
Reach out.
Reach
no
out. No matter,
if it's
if,
through
like
a
she
church,
said, if it's through a church, if it's just through friends, if it's through some type of
12-step program,
12-step
just do
program,
whatever
just do
is
whatever
going to be
is going to
great
be
for you.
great for you.
So until the next
So
time,
until the next time, you guys,
have a good one.
have a good one.
Bye.